Welcome to How to Play by Cathouse Gaming, where our goal is to explain the key game mechanics needed to get you and your table mates playing. We know you'd rather be gaming, so let's get started. Hey guys! Today we're learning how to play games from the Century Trilogy. Each game uses similar iconography and features different core game mechanics. Spice Road introduces deck building, Eastern Wonders Pick Up and Deliver, and A New World showcases worker placement. The Century games are fantastic in that they can be played as standalone games as well as combined with each other. This video is focused on Eastern Wonders, which is the second game in the Century Trilogy. You can find links to how to play the other Century games in the description below. In Century Eastern Wonders, as well as each of the other Century games, players are goods traders looking to be the most successful of all of the traders. Game end is triggered when a player has collected 4 victory point tiles. The current round is finished, so everyone has an equal number of turns. Victory points are earned by possessing victory point tiles, uncovered spaces on their player board, specific bonus tiles, and non-yellow cubes remaining in their caravan. The player with the most points wins. Find and set aside the port tiles, and then sort the market tiles by their trade good. Randomly remove 1 tile of each type of trade good. Return the removed tiles to the box and shuffle the remaining tiles. Flip the market tiles face up and form the game board. The center column will have 6 tiles. The column to the left of center and the right of center will each have 5 tiles. The remaining outside columns will have 4 tiles. On the outer columns, use the port tiles for the top and bottom of the columns rather than the market tiles. Find and set aside the closed port tile. Shuffle the victory point tiles and place 1 on each of the ports. Stack the remainder and remove the top 5 tiles. Shuffle the closed port tile in with these 5 tiles and then place the 6 tiles onto the original stack near the main game board. Sort the bonus tiles and place them near the main game board. Place the spices into their respective bowls and align them near the main game board in descending order. Brown at the top, then green, red, and finally yellow. We'll continue to refer to the spices by their color, but please know that thematically, brown represents cloves, green, tea, red, chili, and yellow, ginger. Each player takes a player board as well as all of the tokens of their chosen color. Place the board so the side with the unnumbered column on the far left is visible, and place outposts onto each space of the player board. Use the player boards or randomly determine a start player. In reverse player order, each player selects their starting cubes from one of 4 options. The options do not change regardless of player count, and unused cubes are returned to supply. The options are 2 yellow and 1 green, 1 yellow and 1 green, 4 yellow, 2 red. Beginning with the start player, each player may move their boat and then perform an action. Movement as well as actions are both completely optional. When movement ends or is skipped, the player may perform one of 3 actions: market, harvest, or port. The market action enables the player to trade 1 or more cubes into different cubes as depicted on the market tile. Players can only trade if they have an outpost on that tile. It is permissible to build an outpost and trade immediately when landing on a market tile. There is no limit as to how many goods may be traded when performing the market action. Providing the player has the required resources to trade and the capacity to hold the received goods in their cargo hold, they can trade multiple times. Cargo hold space is limited to 10 cubes. The harvest action enables the player to collect 2 yellow cubes from supply and add them to their cargo hold. The harvest action is beneficial if the player doesn't have an outpost on the island that their boat stopped at and can't afford or choose not to build one. Last but not least is the port action, which enables a player to exchange cubes for the victory point tile on the port where their boat stops. Each victory point tile has a certain number and type of resources depicted on the tile. Once a player has these resources available, they can navigate their boat to the appropriate port and exchange them for the victory point tile. When a victory point tile is claimed, a new one is added to the port from the top of the deck. After a player has decided to move their boat, or not, and take an action, or not, their turn ends and the person to their left has the same options. As previously stated, players may choose to move their boat at the beginning of their turn. Movement to the adjacent market tile is free, but going further requires the player to place a cube onto the island or islands the boat passes over. If the player's boat lands on a market tile containing cubes, the player gets to add them to their cargo hold. If the player's boat ends on a market tile containing other boats, the player must pay the other player or players 1 cube each. Unfortunately, the other players must be paid prior to the active player picking up any available cubes from the tile. Taking the market action allows the player to trade goods, but only if they have an outpost on the particular market tile. Outposts can be built immediately after the player lands on the market tile if they have chosen to perform the market action. The cost to build an outpost is 1 cube per outpost already on the tile. If the player is the first to build, it's free. If they're fourth, it costs 3 cubes. When building an outpost, it is important to select the outpost from the row corresponding with the good type depicted on the market tile and remove them from the player board from left to right. Outposts cover up victory points. The leftmost column will be cleared first and provides no victory points, while the rightmost one will be cleared last and provides 3 points per row. Building outposts allows the player to earn bonus tiles. Once a column has been cleared, the player selects a bonus tile from the 5 types available. The bonus tiles offer different benefits, including increasing the player's free movement by 1 space, increasing the capacity of the player's cargo hold, providing the player a red cube every time they perform the harvest action, enabling the player to upgrade a single cube every time they build an outpost. Bonus tiles may also be worth 1 to 6 victory points as depicted on the tile. During setup, the closed port tile was mixed into the top 5 face-down victory point tiles. This means that the closed port tile will appear on a port no later than the 6th time a player claims a victory point tile. When this happens, the port is now closed. From now on, every time a victory point tile is claimed, the closed port tile will move to that port and a new victory point tile will be added from the face-down supply to the newly opened port, the one the closed port tile just vacated. This process of closing ports prevents a player from being able to claim a victory point tile and then claim another without having to travel to a new port. Game end is triggered when a player has obtained 4 victory point tiles. The current round is finished, so each player has the same number of turns. Once the round is completed, players sum the victory points depicted on each of their victory point tiles. Then they add the value of the victory points from uncovered spaces on their board, bonus tiles, as well as 1 point each for non-yellow resources remaining in the player's cargo hold. The player with the most victory points wins. Build at least a few trade houses early on in this game. This benefits you in 2 ways. First of all, it's just plain cheaper to build first. Secondly, if done strategically, you'll earn at least 1 bonus tile. This will increase your movement, allow an upgrade, or grant additional resources. Whenever possible, try to convert multiple resources during a turn. For example, when you land on an island that enables you to convert 1 green cube into 2 red cubes, try to convert 2 or 3 green cubes instead of just 1. Economy of actions counts in this game, as does always having available cubes. That's a wrap. You now know how to play Century Eastern Wonders. Go forth and may the best trader win.